Live. It's just about 1:15, I think, on a Tuesday afternoon. It is February 13th, 2024. It's the day before St. Valentine, St. Valentine's Day. For those who celebrate that with your loved ones, um, have a good day. I hope you're showing some true appreciation for your significant other, whoever that might be. Um, for those who aren't, hey, who's to say that you cannot show that you are your own significant other? That take it as a day to appreciate yourself and what you bring, not just to your life, but what you bring to the world. You know, we all have a gift. We all have some kind of a gift that we give, that we're meant to give. We can actually call that our true Dharma. We often think of Dharma as, well, in Buddhist terms, it would be the teachings, the Dharma of Buddha. In yogic um, philosophy and psychology, it is likened more to our purpose in life. And we always take that to mean as the role that we play. Our purpose is to be a doctor, to be a healer, to be a lawyer, to do something to make a living, or it's an inherent talent. My Dharma is music, that or art in some way, that I was born to do this particular thing. But the truth is, the deeper truth, that we always sort of have to uncover, we have to unpack. It's like an onion. There's always another layer to peel. That our Dharma is to simply be. That's it. Beingness is a gift. It comes by grace. Who knows how we got here? In this particular form. In a way, you know, we can trace our origins to the infinite, forever. Our actual origins predates the Big Bang, to that singularity of energy and whatever caused it to stir and expand. That we were at one time at home within the absolute. And then for whatever reason, there was the expansion. And again, in yogic philosophy, it would be, the Big Bang would be likened to the breath of God. And as every breath, there is the exhalation, the expansion, and then the inhalation, the collapse. So there's been big bangs in yogic philosophy. Do I know that for sure? Absolutely not. Do I subscribe to it? Theoretically. Theoretically, I subscribe to a lot of things. In actuality, what I know is my own beingness that is interdependent to everything else within the universe. That I am made up of essential things. I am made up of cells and molecules and atoms and particles, all swirling around, and this absolute emptiness that we could call God. Some people take offense when you equate God with emptiness. However, it's emptiness that is the allowance of everything. Emptiness isn't empty per se. Emptiness is the capacity for everything to be. And what a greater praise, what a greater prayer than saying that God is simply the capacity for life to be. Truly our source, truly our Father, truly our Divine Mother, truly that we come from that. So our friend Odom is here. Odom's Shorts is here. So, hey, Odom's Shorts is sort of a derivative, is that the right word I'm looking for, Odom, of Odom's Homestead. And if you guys are following Odom's Homestead, then check out his shorts, where right now he's putting in the work. He's doing some serious reps, um, getting strong, getting back in shape. I forget how long you said that you had laid off, but he is back on track. Um, and if you're not following Odom's Homestead, please do, because it really is a gift. You really get to see someone. I was talking about Dharma. You could rightly view when someone's doing what they absolutely love, they are following the Dharma. That's why they're here. And you can see that there's absolute love in the actions that Odom is doing. And our friend Cowboy Larry is here. Cowboy, how are you? I'm glad you're both here. Odom says pretty much just to support other 4 days I'm behind. So check out both Odom's Shorts and Odom's Homestead. Really good stuff. When I see a new video, I'm always happy for both the shorts and the regular video. So back to Dharma. Origins of the universe. It's all connected in a way. For whatever reason we find ourselves here. It's a mystery. Who knows why? The great thing, our Dharma doesn't have to be this straight path. It's a straight path. It doesn't have to be, just because we're good at music, doesn't absolutely mean that that's our Dharma. Not if it doesn't bring us joy. That's famous words of Joseph Campbell, the mythologist, when he talked about following your bliss. Now, following your bliss isn't just going about willy-nilly to things that make you happy, because bliss in that context, the same with meditation and yogic psychology context, bliss is that deep sense of beingness when you are attuned. Everything in the universe is conspiring to come to your aid to support the thing that you're doing right now. That's bliss. That's the end result of the yogic path, is going into samadhi, which is meditative bliss, that we're just simply absorbed within the fabric of our meditation. I almost said absorbed into the fabric of our medication, which would have been an entirely different topic than what we're talking about now. Our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, is here. Grand day and blessings. How are you? I'm doing well today. We had, it's over now, looking out the window. We had a snow, I guess it's called a snow squall, where it was rainy all morning, and then the rain turned into snow, which is strange because it was warmer in the morning than it was during the day. And now it's back to rain, and that's sort of tapering off as well. I was outside early for my morning walk, my first one, which is just about 4:30 or so in the morning, between 4:30 and 5, depending on how my writing, which is what I do before I walk, how that's going. And then I went out for a run and a walk with I have a new cell phone camera lens to do some nature shorts. The shorts that you're seeing now on my page, that is all from Mocha McCarty and her very talented filming and photography skills. I'm there to help. I'm there. I get to point things out. Let's see. GK says, "You like Goose from Top Gun, but with a touch of holistic energy." Thanks. That's nice to hear. I'm trying to think of Goose from Top Gun because it's been, I don't think I've seen it since when it came out, which was what, 40 years ago? To more than slightly age myself. I think he was in a TV series too, but now I can't remember. GK says he was super handsome. Well, that's actually nice to hear. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, hey, our friend Burpees Bandit is here, and it has been a while. Hello, Eric. Good morning. Up and early. Glad to catch you live. I'm glad you did as well. For those who haven't seen Burpees Bandits in a while, remember at the beginning of the year, actually before so, he had said it was going to be a busy 2024 for him, which is why he came up with his workout. So the fact that he's making an appearance, that's a big deal. I appreciate that. So yeah, Mocha's doing a lot of that filming. Again, she's extremely talented in all forms of art. She wouldn't give herself that credit, but she is. And for me, that's part of her dharma. Because here's my problem with photography and filming. It's not the problem with photography and filming. It's my problem with it. That when you put that camera in my hand, or my cell phone in my hand, even with the lens, it becomes something between me and the experience itself. I'm out of the moment, and now I've given myself a label. I've given myself a project. I'm a photographer. Maybe not a good one, but a photographer. And that label, again, takes me from that moment. But that's just me. You put a camera in Mocha's hands, and it enhances the moment. She doesn't take a title. She doesn't take a label. It's all more seamless for her. She is so absorbed in the action of photography that she becomes a participant in the whole fabric of life right there, in the whole fabric of taking a photo. It's not something in between her. For me, it is. Now, it's different than what I'm writing. When I'm writing, that's part of my dharma, and I'm absorbed within the action of writing. The keyboard or the pen or the computer screen, none of that is standing between me and what I'm doing. It's part of the seamless flow of the action. We all have those things. If you watch Destiny Forever Walks PhD, Dancing on a Treadmill, the treadmill isn't just an instrument, it is integral to the dance itself. That's following your bliss. That's what Joseph Campbell was talking about. Some people have taken it as, well, I enjoy drinking, I'm following my bliss. I enjoy eating this certain food, or, things along those lines. That's following your superficial happiness. And I don't mean superficial in a bad way. I just mean that it's doesn't have the depth that bliss has. I've had some really fantastic moments in meditation through the course of 30 plus, 40 years of meditation. I've seen what could be called celestial lights. I've had feelings of being one within the universal structure, things along those lines. If you meditate long enough, you have them. As every deep yogi has ever told me, dismiss them. They're nice experiences, but they're not that depth of liberation that we're looking for. And when you finally reach that level of bliss, when you're simply absorbed within the object of your meditation to the point where there is no object, there is no meditation, and there is no meditator, there's just that moment. That's bliss. So that's the difference between everything that I experienced before was sort of superficial, meaningful, wonderful experience, but in comparison to that state of bliss itself, superficial. So again, that's the difference. That's why, again, when you watch Destiny dancing on the treadmill, it's a state of bliss, pure happiness, joy. When you watch Odom with his hands in the soil, doing what he loves. He's a participant. It's not him and the soil and the seed. It's all of that. Seamless. One action. When the gardener disappears within the garden, I think might be the best way to see it. Let's see. We got some greetings being given. Always nice to see. And this is a nice group of people. I appreciate everyone here, and it always takes an interesting turn, especially when Destiny and Odom and Burpees Bandit always has some interesting questions to throw out there as well that gets me thinking, and interesting insights. So we'll see if he has any today. Not to put any pressure on Burpees Bandit. If there's anyone popping in and they're not following Destiny Forever Walks PhD, and you're wondering what I was talking about with the treadmill, then definitely go visit Destiny's channel. She has extremely useful information on health and fitness and well-being. And I think, sounds like three things: health, fitness, and well-being. But I think that they all can be addressed differently. Maybe well-being is the umbrella that hangs over all of them, because you can be healthy and not be very fit depending on what you want to do. I have been race fit. I've been in extremely good shape to do a race. A lot of training involved. But it's been such a one-dimensional state of fitness that I can't say that my health was great, because my immune system was compromised. I was putting in so many miles that I had to be careful. It was easy to get sick. At the same time, because I was so focused on one aspect, my well-being was compromised as well, because to be emotionally healthy, you need to be embracing physical, psychological, and emotional, all of it. Let's see. Odom says, love to watch when I plant fruit for the first time. Awesome feeling. Yeah, especially, you know what? Being a vegan, when I see someone plant the thing that is essential to my well-being, it's full appreciation, full on 1,000% appreciation for what somebody like you was doing. Especially when you see a homestead, a small farm, a large garden, things along those lines, and you know that it's done with such love, versus the massive farms, which are more of a production plant nowadays. I'm not saying that's wrong, because it puts food on so many people's table, which is extremely important. But at the same time, we're sacrificing a lot of love that goes in food. And studies have shown, and this isn't just yogic lore, that, love being a vibrational quality, when a fruit is picked with love, when it's grown with love, then it has a corresponding vibrational quality within our own system when we eat it. We know that for decades, knowing that when you talk to a plant, it's healthier. It grows faster, it goes stronger, sturdier, healthier. Um, so imagine the vast majority of our food and the conditions that it's produced in, the quality of its vibration that we're consuming. We're actually consuming most of the time suffering, unfortunately. So when you watch someone like Odom who puts obvious love in what he's doing, in that food, he's producing love. It is what it is here. Good morning, YouTube family. Good morning, Lewis. Great to have you here, as always. Destiny says, I can imagine that being awesome feeling, Odom, if you creative art and fruit of your own hands. Exactly. Imagine feeding yourself and your family with that passion and that love that you put into the earth, and that the earth itself responds to that. And it grows this plant specifically for you. You're that vibratory match. Odom says, put bad food on your table, too many antibiotics. Yes, too many antibiotics, too many hormones, and not to mention the stress of the animal or plant itself that they've been under. Everything experiences stress. And imagine the stress of an animal that's been tortured and then slaughtered. Imagine the stress of an animal that has been separated from its mother before it was ready. And then the mother forced to endlessly produce milk past her ability to do so, and she's pumped up with chemicals that make it continue longer and longer and longer. And then that calf is taken away and chained so it can't move and won't develop any muscle and is kept anemic, never gets to see its mother, never gets to know the touch of its mother, mistreated, and then slaughtered. And then we consume that. And we think it's right. And we have a national health crisis, and we wonder why. The fact that chickens are kept in such inhumane conditions that the only way they can be kept alive very often is debeaked, plucked, hung up from their feet, but still alive for an indefinite period of time until they're ready to be slaughtered. This isn't a vegan rant. This is the quality of the food. If you want to eat meat, I'm not saying don't. So, again, I'm not saying be vegan, be vegetarian, eat the way I eat. Not at all. Eat the way that is good and healthy for you. And to do so means you got to go straight to the source of where you're getting your food. And as Odom said, if it's pumped up full of antibiotics, you're not doing yourself any favors. If it's pumped up full of hormones, other chemicals, genetically modified, they're taken, and this has been going on for years, genetically modifying tomatoes with salmon genes so they're redder, deeper red, and it lasts longer. I know some people will say, well, I like salmon, which is fine again, but do you want it in your tomato? And do you want to not know what they're doing? If they do that to a tomato, what else are they doing? So somehow, and unfortunately, you guys caught me on a food rant. And I can rant about food and the food conditions and its production for ages. And again, I need to clarify that it's not a vegan rant. It is a food quality rant, which is a big, big different. Destiny says, correction, Eric and not Aaron. That's okay. typo. I apologize. Not a problem at all. Cowboy Larry says it's pretty cool, this little YouTube community. It's relaxing just listening in. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. And again, it's the community that makes it all worthwhile. That makes it even deeper than a community. It is, as Destiny is saying, fellowship of being, fellowship of beingness. People can jump in, and I wish I knew how to share the link, and then anyone who wanted to go live with me would be a lot of fun. I should figure that out. Destiny continues, we bring light and love to a dark world. Glad you love being here. You are definitely welcome anytime here. Blessings to you. I agree 100%, as always with Destiny. I would go so far as to say that if you stumble in here, it's to join in, putting out a little bit of light, to join in, giving back a little bit of love. And that means that you are essential, integral to the fellowship as well. A fellowship of beingness, says Destiny. Odom says, are you on StreamYard? Not only am I not on StreamYard, I don't know what StreamYard is. That's how far out of the loop. I'm so far out of the loop that I just realized recently that there's a loop that I should be aware of. I know I see, on some of the live stuff, all kinds of stuff that I don't have. Let's see. I forget what that's called. I just saw it when I was on someone's live session. I just figured out how to do some stuff with the shorts. I did not know how to make them other than, I didn't know how to make them from an existing video until 2 days ago. And I just figured that out. And all kinds of technical stuff that's really kind of beyond me. Which is okay. I'll either figure it out or I'll just keep plodding along as I have been and see where it goes. I'm sort of mystified how some of the shorts seem to take off in such a short time and others sort of stagnate depending on the content. I had to repost my crow and water because YouTube pulled it. They sent me a little notification saying they were pulling it with a list of things that it could be, the reasons why. And I have no idea why, which one of those it might have been. So I just went ahead and reposted it, and we'll see what happens. Odom says, StreamYard is another streaming service. It's free. You can have people come on YouTube Live. I'll have to Google that. I have a friend who's interested in doing, he wants to start a podcast with me. And I've actually always thought that I'd like to do a podcast. One of the reasons why I go live every day is sort of to fill that role. Although all it is, stream of consciousness from moment to moment. Destiny says we learn as we go, and once we've gone a distance from the roots, we then grow. Let's go and flow in the harmony with the universe. That was beautifully said. Um, I like that. And it makes sense. That's a real thing. That's the thing with poetry as well. Um, the poetry of those words really imply something deeper that we sort of have to sink into. You can't really gloss over it. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and the meaning becomes more and more true. Odom says you can have one person go live with you on YouTube, but you have to invite them before you go live. Um, Duncan Walsh and I tried that once, and we couldn't make it work, which is a shame, because all of you guys would be a lot of fun to go live and have a one-on-one conversation with, and Duncan included. I really feel like I could have a great conversation with each and every one of you about the things that you love to do, and it would be just that conversation. Cyrus says, good morning. Derek is here visiting. I appreciate that, Derek. Odom says it's easier on StreamYard. Yeah, I'm going to have to, when I'm done, do some Googling and bring up StreamYard. You know, I'm going to circle back to what I was saying about Dharma and its role within our lives. And I'm going to use Osiris as an example. I've mentioned this before. You can watch Derek work out and the obvious joy that he has in doing it. But I wouldn't necessarily say that that is part of his Dharma. I think it's something that he enjoys. When he talks about hiking and when he shows the clips of him being in nature, that seems part of his Dharma. That's the difference between being happy doing something and being in the bliss of doing what you absolutely love to do. So again, everyone who pops up here, you can sort of dissect the difference, the subtle difference sometimes, but still difference between being happy with what you do and finding the bliss of what you do. So when, Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss, he wasn't saying, go find and do what makes you happy. Sometimes your bliss doesn't make you happy in that sense. Sometimes Dharma doesn't make you happy, but it always makes you fulfilled. And that's the big difference. Being fulfilled is that deeper type of happiness that allows for some sadness, that allows for some sorrow, that allows for some grief. While being happy is always dependent upon the thing it is that you're doing, or the thing that you're thinking, or the person that you're with. When you're in a true heartfelt relationship, you're Sarah says sometimes my bliss is found after after the workout. Sometimes that's the best time. You've gone through. One of the things I always loved about doing ultras, and the longer the better, was you never really look forward to the end of the race. You're always exactly where you want to be, exactly where you need to be, no matter it is what you're doing. And I've been in some horrifying races. I have been lost in rainstorms. I have jumped over rattlesnakes, run away from skunks, all kinds of stuff. But always completely happy doing exactly what it is that I'm doing. Now, there's been other things, like a 5K, where you absolutely suffer through the entire 5K because you're racing. Then, like Derek was saying, the bliss is found afterwards. That I went out hard, I went out fast, I put everything I had in it, to the point where I was almost oblivious to everything that was going on around me. But then when I finished, with that sense of knowing I did something difficult, knowing that I did something with everything I had in me, that's when the bliss comes. In an ultra, it's just a long, slow day in the woods. Every moment is blissful. People have said, isn't it difficult running 100 miles? And the answer is, you know what? Not if you've trained to be on your feet all day. It's not about going fast. You walk and you run to an aid station. You eat a whole lot of bad junk food. I mostly ate fruit, to be honest with you, but they do have a lot of junk food. And some will actually make all kinds of different food. Some actually have like pizza and other stuff. I was mainly almost 100% fruit. Sometimes stuff like chips or something, if they were vegan, for the salt, for the sodium. During a race, the only time I've ever consumed anything with salt. So yeah, you walk and you run, you eat a lot of bad food, you talk to some friends, and then you walk and you run until you get to the next one. And you just keep doing that until you've covered 100 miles. It's like going to multiple picnics over the course of 100 miles. And when you look at it in that light, how hard can it be? It's actually pretty easy. It can be tiring. So it can be hard too. But I'd like to think of it as multiple picnics. It's just a way of getting through the entire experience, I think. So that's Dharma. Finding yourself doing what you love to do, even though it presents moments of difficulty, even though you might suffer, even though it might have some sorrow involved. You're in it for the long haul. Dusty says, I can agree with you, Osiris. Bliss occurs when judgment is absent. It can occur when things don't go as planned, and then expectations are not met. I agree with that as well. Now, in yogic psychology, and Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali's Eightfold Path, 8 branches of yoga, everything accumulates in samadhi, which is bliss consciousness, when there is no object of meditation. The mantra disappears and you are simply absorbed within the workings of the universe. There's no meditator, there's no meditation going on, there's no object of meditation. There is just simply that bliss consciousness that isn't, again, it isn't based upon anything whatsoever. And again, that's the true object of, or the true outcome of bliss, and the difference between bliss and happiness. Happiness is always dependent upon something. It needs context. And there's an opposite. There's no opposite to bliss. As Destiny said, where judgment is absent, everything is absent. There's just bliss. You are so absorbed. Even to say absorbed is wrong. There's just absorption happening. Life continuously flowing. And you are such a deep participant, nothing can be wrong. It's just because you're not someone who is participating with life. You are the participant of life itself. And when sometimes you'll hit that in meditation, And sometimes it'll seem so brief, and you realize that you've been there for 20 minutes, you've been there for half an hour, you've been there for 40 minutes. It does not happen all the time. Again, the goal of yoga is to reach that so that it's a natural part of your life in every moment, a little more subdued than that peak experience of yogic absorption. And to even say experience is slightly wrong, because an experience comes and goes, but bliss consciousness is simply catching that glimpse of reality that's always present. Bliss doesn't come and go, it's revealed. Reality doesn't come and go. It's always here, always present. And we could say that bliss consciousness is that bedrock of reality of which everything springs up. And then people might say, then why is there suffering? Why is there hardship? Why is there grief? Why do we have this sense of loss? And two answers would be, I don't know. My honest answer, simply don't know, because it's part of life. It's how life works. Things rise, things fall. And also, the yogic psychology answer is because we are ignorant of that bedrock of existence, the bedrock of reality. Every once in a while, in those peak experiences, we catch a glimpse, and sometimes that makes it even worse because we want that back. This is why people keep participating in extreme sports, because you get that glimpse of the bliss consciousness, and you want to keep going back to it and back to it and back to it, and you put yourself at risk, not knowing that if you just sit still, it's all right there. You see, you awake, you're awakened. Destiny says there's only one reason why we don't experience bliss at this present moment, and it's because we're focusing on what we don't have. And that's words straight from yoga, straight from the wisdom, from the heart of yoga. Although they would also add that we not only focus on what we don't have, we focus on what we do have to the exclusion of reality itself. We put our focus on maintaining what we have. In yogic psychology, it's based upon the reason why we suffer is because of our aversions, not wanting what is present right now. I don't want to grieve. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to suffer. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's the same in Buddhism. Buddha would say, but that's what you have. You're adding suffering into the sorrow. You're adding suffering to the grief. Grief itself is just the experience of loss in the moment. It doesn't involve suffering until we say, I don't want this. And then it becomes suffering. And then our attractions, as Destiny was saying, that we suffer because we are always going after something that we think is absent, something that we need. I'll be happy when I achieve this. I'll be happy when I own this. I'll be happy when I make this. And of course, when we get it, we just chase after something else, and it's a continuous process, and we're always stuck in that loop of unhappiness. The third, in yogic psychology, is fear of death. We're trying to outrun death. We don't accept it. Ties into those other two. We are chasing things to keep from the reality that we're going to die, and we are pushing things away. We're pushing death away. Don't want to think about it. It's taboo to talk about. The fourth thing is our attachment to personality. We believe that we are this ego. We believe that we're this personality, and we believe that we're the thoughts that we're having. And that causes suffering. The fifth, the final and most important, is called avidya. Vidya means knowledge, Avidya means ignorance, the lack of knowledge. It's not ignorance as in an insult. It just means that we don't know. And worse, we don't know what we don't know. So all of those things, our attractions, our aversions, the fear of death, our ego, we don't realize that those are the traps that we've fallen in. And when we can see, when we wake up, we get that true glimpse of bliss consciousness. Let's see. I'm going to make sure that I catch everything. Cowboy Larry says, everyone, these lives are different. That's awesome. But they're all generally helpful in some way. I agree. I find my happiness and bliss in Jesus. The closer I get to him, the more I feel complete. Jesus is really the optimum of all of that. That to sink into the heart of Jesus is to sink into the heart of love. This is why Jesus said the way to love, the way to God is through Jesus. One of my favorite things, some of my favorite teachings is always go back to the Beatitudes, is always go back to the Sermon of the Mount. That if you just practice that, you would find your way out of suffering, the same as the Buddhist path, same as the yoga path. You would find your way out of suffering. And, I always point out, Jesus gave explicit instructions on how to live your life and where to find heaven. Kingdom of heaven is within. If that's not a recipe for deep prayer or meditation, and in essence, if you're in deep prayer, you're in meditation. If you're in deep meditation, you're in prayer. You're in direct communication. Cowboy Larry, finding your happiness and bliss in Jesus is absolutely beautiful. Destiny says, experience the present moment and bliss will show up in front of you, mind, body, and soul. I agree 100%. And sometimes the experience in the present moment is less than happy. It might be suffering. You might be grieving. You might be whatever. But that is the experience itself. And that means that bliss consciousness is the capacity to hold your sorrow, the capacity to hold your grief, the capacity to hold your hurt. This is why people who have terminal illnesses often end up being some of the happiest people that we can come in contact with, because they've let everything else go but the present moment. Doesn't mean that they're not in pain. It doesn't mean that they're not suffering. Doesn't even mean that they aren't afraid to die, but it means they know what's going to happen. They know that they hurt. They know that they're suffering, but they've accepted it. They're not pushing it away. They're right where they need to be. The famous words of Ram Dass, be here now. He wrote the book in 1971. What was sort of left out, millions of people read that book, and then thousands went to India or to Tibet or to other places to learn how to be here now. And the most remarkable thing of all that was sort of left out, he should have just said right at the end of the book, oh, and by the way, you are already here, and it's already now. And you will never not be here, and it will never not be now. You don't have to go to India. You don't have to go to Tibet. You don't have to go anywhere. This is why when Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within, he didn't point to the sky. He didn't point somewhere in the distance. He didn't say, if you finally get here, if you finally get now, you'll discover heaven. It's right here all the time. It's the same thing as St. Catherine of Siena. The mystic said, all the way to heaven is heaven. one of my all-time favorite lines. All the way to heaven is heaven. Right here. It leaves absolutely nothing out. So, well, we are over 50 minutes, and it's after 2, so it's actually time for me to get ready for my second meditation for the day. Centejo, am I saying that right? Centejo, saying hello and hello to you. I hope I'm saying that right, and I apologize if I'm not. And I appreciate you liking. Thank you. Destiny says, it's been another great discussion. Thanks, Eric, Lewis, Odom, Osiris, Cowboy Larry. We're ever learning and growing into the knowledge of the truth. Yes, we are. Blessings and love, everyone. Peace out. Thank you for coming by. Derek, thank you. And getting a high family, thank you. I appreciate that. Odom, keep up with the reps. Love seeing it in your shorts. Cowboy Larry, thank you. Burpees Bandit for the brief pop-in. I appreciate that as well. If I'm leaving anyone else. GM? Where was that? GK. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for the super awesome compliment. I appreciate that as well. So, guys, thanks. Everyone have a good day. Take care.